On behalf of the Home Depot Backyard, we are beyond excited to bring you a new series in cultural conversations that will champion Black excellence, highlight Juneteenth, and feature various individuals from across the Atlanta area in many different industries. Their stories will empower, inspire, and I think excite you to create some change in your own communities. Let's take a look. Our next dynamic duo, you may not know them by name, you may not know them by face, but you most certainly know their work because they are the designers, the award-winning designers behind everything you see Atlanta Falcons and Atlanta United.
My name is Britt Davis. I'm a senior designer with A&B Sports and Entertainment that covers Atlanta Falcons, Atlanta United, and Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
My name is Kaila Pettis. I am also a senior designer, but I am also the creative lead for Atlanta United.
How did, and either one of you can start, did you get started in this field?
I didn't start off in the sports industry. I started off in the point of purchase industry. So when you go in Best Buy and you see all of those retail displays and the headphone thing, and you're like, oh, turn it up so you can hear it. I was designing those displays, and it was nice money. It was great to have a job straight out of college, but as a former athlete, I always loved sports. So I was like, I really want to get back to that. And then I took my first job out at Washington State as their digital graphic designer.
For me, it kind of started with industrial design. Like, I'd always loved sneakers and designing out of East Bay catalogs. So like redrawing logos, jerseys, all of that stuff. So I started doing it on the side. And then I got into my first job in higher education. And it came time to rebrand for homecoming because the university had gotten a football team. So I started doing research on what would that branding look like, and I started finding these different people who were dedicated designers to sports, and I was like, this is a thing, this is dope, I want to do that. So I just started freelancing some stuff, and then from there I landed a job here in Atlanta, and I've been doing it ever since.
What is it like being creative at this scale in this space?
Every day we walk into a building that we helped to cultivate from a creative standpoint. So like that Mercedes-Benz Stadium logo, like that's in my portfolio. And seeing people rock the stuff that you create in the team store, like it still like gets you just amped up. Like no matter how you're feeling that day, you could be out just driving around the city and you see somebody rocking something that you contributed to or that you designed or that was on your sketch pad or in your brain, and now it's just like out in the world. So it's like just the best feeling ever.
Were either of you nervous going into your fields? Because it's, you know, sometimes, especially in our community, creative fields, people are like, wait, what is that? What does it really do? Can you really support yourself in that capacity? Were either of you nervous, or what some of things did you hear from your family and support system as well?
I'm fortunate to come from a family that was super supportive, and they didn't know a lot about that field, but they made it their business to know about it so that they could help me better prepare. So that's like a blessing, because we'll talk to young creatives who say, you know, I want to get in this field, but my parents, they're not sure I can make it in this field, or they don't really know a lot about it, or sometimes they'll just say, we don't see a lot of us in this field, so is there space for us? So we try to really make sure that we're visible, to make sure that people understand like there are people out there who look like us doing amazing things in this field, and you know, anybody can get into it if you're passionate about it.
My situation is kind of like the opposite, which is why I think we work so well together. I came from Chicago, my mom, we're from Inglewood. No one knew anything about the creative space, right? So I was always drawing on my friends' notebooks and stuff in college, painting on stuff around the house, drove them insane. But again, they thought I was gonna be like this starving artist, right? The only thing I knew about artists were you can make clay sculptures and you could probably draw, but again, this starving artist stigma. So I think that's too what's so important about the work that we're doing now, is educating people and saying, hey, there are opportunities where you could be a creative in this industry and really live your best life. I think that's the most important thing out of all of that, because still so many people do not know about the opportunities that are available, and there are a ton of opportunities for creatives within this space.
It's so important to share representation and to share that we are occupying these spaces. What type of reactions do you get when people find out that there are people of color behind these two massive brands?
Initially, I mean, even in our programs, we both majored in industrial design. I was the only Black female in that program.
I was only black female, and there were like, I think maybe 4 of us total.
And then we get into the actual sports industry where it really narrows down, right? So I'm in Chicago having that experience. She's in
I was in North Carolina.
So like getting here and seeing us and even ending up in the same space, rare, right? Mm-hmm. Because I think I can only think off the top of my head of 2 others that are in this entire industry, like sport-wide. Mm-hmm. So it is truly a small community.
I mean, all of that, and then sometimes you don't even realize, you know, how big a deal it is to be in some of these spaces until you get reactions from someone. So, you know, we may post a project like we worked on this ticket box, or we did the layout for the field for a Falcons game or something. And you just post that like, hey, I got to do this thing. And people are like, oh, snap, a black woman did this. And it like your tweet just blows up. You're just like, I was just like literally sharing some word, but like, oh, that touched somebody.
Why is it important to share your story and that you are occupying these spaces? As we talk about Black excellence and Juneteenth, why is it important to share these stories?
I think for me, you know, and sharing that story is just making sure people know that, you know, we're out there, because we can be a little bit timid when we don't see representation, you know, of ourselves, and it makes us a little bit more hesitant to walk into those rooms. And we just need that little bit of push, or a familiar face that says, you know, come on in, you know, you're welcome.
So what advice would you give someone who might be watching this and that wants to get into this field, who says, I want to create brands and a movement and a culture for a major sports entity or entertainment entity?
I'd say like it's a few things. So one is be confident in yourself. I think that's the one thing that we come across so much, is that people have no confidence in themselves that they could even get into the industry. It's always like, oh, I don't know. Don't be unsure about yourself. Know that you truly, if you have that capability, or if you don't, work towards it. So for me, when I was starting off, I started in kind of shooting music videos, right? Completely unrelated to design, right? But I started shooting music videos. But from that, I was able to direct, I edited, did everything. So I learned so much in that skill that by the time I got to my career, I knew motion graphics, I knew how to shoot videography, I knew how to brand. I knew so many different skill sets that made me this multifaceted designer, which at the time, a lot of people didn't have that. You're just coming in it from one perspective. So being able to be multifaceted, kind of staying abreast on technology, innovation, and just, again, that confidence and putting it all in one and saying like, hey, I can help you this way.
What does Black excellence mean to you?
Definitely say owning who you are, but then I'd say passing it on to the next person as well. I think that's important to lift up the person that's next to you. You truly owning who you are, you want to give somebody else that same confidence that they can walk in their own shoes to their own path as well, and say, hey, I see you, we're both excellent, you know. So I think that's good to me.
I think Black excellence is like thriving and owning who you are in whatever spaces you occupy. Like no matter who's in your way, it's like you just own the history of who you are, where you come from. You don't have to change yourself. Like you just stand and drip pride at all times, no matter what, and you serve that up daily, and like just, you know, brush your shoulders off.
Thank y'all so much for taking the time to speak with us and sharing a piece of your journey, as well as, you know, putting some faces to the amazing designs that we see here in the stadium and all around town and all around the world. So thank you both so much.
The world, Paris. Thank you.